The Node Wrangler add-on is going to allow us to really quickly work with our procedural nodes by allowing us to quickly add in nodes, add in textual coordinates and mapping nodes, mix nodes together and view the output of nodes, as well as a number of other utility features. In order to enable the Node Wrangler add-on, we're going to go up to the Edit menu, go down to Preferences, open up Preferences, and then within the add-on section we're going to find the Node Wrangler. We can scroll all the way down to the node section and you'll find that here. Now I already have Node Wrangler enabled. If you don't have that enabled, just check this little tick box. Now within the Node Wrangler section here we have a few different options. We can check out the documentation, which will open up directly in the Blender manual, and I would recommend taking some time at the end of this video to just have a quick look through here so you can see some of the different features that Node Wrangler will enable you to do. You can also report any bugs here, and we also have some other preferences. For example, we can look at all the hotkeys for Node Wrangler. Now this might be a little bit off-putting since there are so many hotkeys for the Node Wrangler, but throughout the course you're going to be able to learn and use all the most common ones pretty quickly, and we'll cover those in due course. The other thing I want to show you here is we do also have this box here, Edit Tags, for auto texture detection in principled BSDF setup, and that is a bit of a mouthful, but essentially what this allows you to do is have your different texture maps that are image based within a folder with different keywords attached to those images, and it allows you to very quickly add in an entire principled BSDF setup for your textures. So if you are doing your texturing using downloaded textures from a website where you have base color, metallic, roughness maps, normal maps, you can import those all in and automatically build up an entire PBR texture setup in one click using the Node Wrangler. Now we will look at that a little bit later on, but in this video, as long as you have this enabled, that's all you really need to do. Now before we finish up, I just want to show you a couple of things that we can do within procedural shading using Node Wrangler. So first of all, I'm just going to hit Shift A, and let's just turn on the shortcut keys. So I'm going to hit Shift A to add in an object. I'm just going to grab a cube, and then I'm going to go to my procedural shading workspace that I've set up. And we can see we have our cube up here. I'm going to go down to the node editor, that's this bottom window here, and just click to add a new material. Now I can rename this, and I'm just going to call this test. And let's just look at a couple of little tips and tricks for Node Wrangler that we're going to use throughout. Now I can open up this side menu here, which we can also use the hotkey N to open and close, and we can go down to Node Wrangler tab, and this again is going to give you a whole bunch of options for Node Wrangler. Now the first thing I want to do is click on this principled BSDF node, which is the main shader we're going to be using throughout this course, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a texture setup. So I can just hit Ctrl T, and automatically we're going to get our texture coordinates, our mapping node, and an image texture node, and that's all with one click. Now if we didn't have Node Wrangler enabled, we would have to use Shift A to first of all find our texture coordinate node, Shift A to find our mapping node within vector, and then we'd have to use Shift A again to add in a texture node, image texture, and then we would have to join these all up manually. So you can see that it's much quicker using the Node Wrangler. One of the other awesome features of the Node Wrangler is the ability to mix two nodes together in one click. So in this case, I'm going to use Shift and Control. I'm going to right click and drag between these two nodes, and automatically it's going to add in a mix node in between these two nodes. So let's just change over this image texture. I'm going to use Shift S to switch my type, and I'm just going to grab something like a Musgrave texture, and you can see that appear on our model there, and I can just change the scale so it's a little bit more visible. And in this image texture, I'm going to use Shift S again to switch our node type. And this time, let's grab something like a wave texture. Now, in this case, you can see that this is all updated. Now, within this mix node, and we'll cover this in a bit more detail later on, we can change the factor so we can either have 100% of our Musgrave texture or 100% of our wave texture. At the moment, we have that plugged into the base color of our principled BSDF node. But let's say I don't have that connected. At the moment, all we see is our BSDF node. We can also hold Ctrl Shift and left click on any node to immediately connect that to the material output, which will show us the output of any single node. We can do that on any node we want to immediately get a preview of what that node is doing. So that's just a couple of very quick examples of what we can do with Node Wrangler, but there is a lot more utility in that node, and again we're going to be covering that throughout the course. So your challenge in this video is to go to Blender Preferences, go down to the Add-on section and enable the Node Wrangler add-on. And as an additional challenge, I think you should have a little read of the Blender manual and just read up on what some of the features Node Wrangler offer. Now once you've done that, we'll be ready to move on, and I'll see you in the next video.